Hi, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I've got a great project for you today. Take a look at this quilt behind me. So right here we have this gorgeous quilt. It is just squares, and yet it has such beauty and elegance to it, and it looks like the squares are just floating in there, and that's because of the background we've used, and I just can't wait to show you how to do it. It's so simple. So to make this quilt, all you're going to need is one charm pack, and we've used peppered cottons for Studio E. Just a beautiful, beautiful set of colors. I mean, really gorgeous. Then you're going to need some background fabric. And for our quilt, we used 1 3/4 of the Essex linen. And it just gives it so much texture. It's just so pretty. And it's going to make a quilt that is, let me check my notes here, 47 by 56. So it's just a great little quilt, perfect little crib size because we're just using a charm and 1 3/4 of fabric. This is the size you're going to get. So here's what you've got to do to make this. We're going to open up our charm pack and we're going to separate 30 of our charm squares and set them over here because we need 30 whole charms for this quilt right here. Then we're going to take our background fabric and we're going to cut some 5-inch squares, and you're going to need 49 of those. And the easiest way to do that is just to take your yardage and cut it into 5-inch strips and then subcut your strips into 5-inch squares because you're going to need 49 background squares. So we're going to set those over there. So that is done. 2/3 of our quilt is done. We have one block left that we have to actually sew, and that's our floater block right here. And to make this block, it's super simple. We're going to take some of those same 2 or 5-inch strips and subcut them to get our yardage, our pieces for the side. So for each block, you're going to need two 2 by 5-inch rectangles. So only 2. So I'm just going to take one of these 5-inch squares and I'm going to cut it into 2 inches by 5 inches. So not 2.5, just 2. So 2 by 5 right here. And those are going to give me the sides of my floater block. Then we're going to take another 2-inch piece right here, and we're going to cut that into 2 2-inch squares right here. There's one, and one more 2-inch square like that. And those are the pieces you need for each of your floater blocks. Now you're going to make 20 of those floater blocks. You are going to need a center bright spot, one of your bright squares. And those squares you're going to get out of your charms, your leftover charms. So we have our 30 charms here. We're going to have about 10 leftover charms, or 12. And we're going to go ahead and cut some 2-inch squares out of those. There's a couple of ways you can do this. You can cut them into 2-inch strips like this. Or you can cut your whole block down into 4 inches and just cut it in fourths. I tend to kind of do them from the strips like this, where I just get some little squares. You're going to need 20 of these middle squares. So let me show you how to put this floater block together. The first thing we're going to do is choose our color for the center, and it's 2 inches square, so 2 by 2. And we're going to take our background blocks, which are also 2 by 2, and we are going to attach those to that piece right there. So let's go to the sewing machine and make our 1/4 inches, our 1/4 inch seams. So here we are. We'll lay them right sides together, set down our presser foot, sew our little 1/4 inch seam, and then we're going to add our side pieces to each side of the color. So I've got that going right here. And it makes just a little strip set. It's like this. And then we're going to press that open. I'm going to press it so that my seams go toward the color. Although that doesn't really matter on this block because we're just going to sew the side pieces to it. So that's our center strip. We've got that ready to go. And we're going to put our side pieces to it just like this. So let's go back to the sewing machine. And sew 1/4 inch down the side. And one more on the other side. Because we're using 5-inch squares for our color pieces, this little floater block has got to end up 5 inches also. So it helps if we just cut the yardage for that rather than cutting down charms, although you can do that very easily. So let me press this out. Gosh, I love this fabric. So there's your floater block right there. And what we want to do is we want to make 20 of those. So then it's time to lay our quilt out. I mean, that's really how fast it is. So this top row you see here is a charm and a background square, a charm and a background square, and you're going to go all the way across and do that. This top row is 9, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 by 11 down. Just makes a great size quilt. So the top row we're just going to put together with our colors and our background. So let me show you a few of those. We'll just sew them together row by row like that. Let's see. Oh, this one starts with a color. There we go. That'll make more sense. Then on the next row, we start with a background square again. And then right here, we're going to nestle our little floater block. And then another background square and a floater block. So now that once you get all your rows laid out, we just need to sew them together. So then what we're basically going to do is we're going to lay our squares with right sides like this. We can take them right over to the sewing machine, sew our 1/4 inch seams together, and put a couple of rows together. You're going to have 9 squares across. If you make this size, really you can make it any size you want. This is one of those where, you know, when you're dealing with charms, it's as big or as small as you want to go. I mean, it can be, you can do it lots of charms or, however you want to go. This one just happens to be, we wanted to see what size we would get with 1 pack of 5-inch squares. And I always think that's kind of fun to see what size you get. So now I have these 2 sewn together like this. What I'm going to do is open them up and sew those 2 together. So let's put right sides together here and just stitch them down. 1/4 inch. Then what we're going to do here is we're going to press this. There we go. Iron from the top, make the seams go the way you want. If you iron on a row like this, when you're doing a row quilt, if you iron all your seams one way on one row, and then the next row you iron them all the other way, then they'll nest really well. So let's sew a few of these together now with our floater blocks. And that will give us the second row. And again, I'm just going to lay these on here and run them down so they're chain pieced, which means I sew them right together without cutting the thread. I have my 2 here. I'll clip them apart and I will stitch those together. Make sure they line up. I like to do that little anchoring stitch where I sew a few stitches and then stop and make sure everything is lined up. Then we're going to press this right here. And let me see. So my seams are going this way on the first row. So on this row, we want them to go that way. So all we do is just flip that over and they line up. And then we get to attach these rows. You're going to do that to all your rows and it's just going to go together so quick. You're going to love it. Again, you're going to have 9 across by 11 down. And I want to show you something really special because we don't show you the backs of our quilts a lot. But on the back of this quilt, we've put this beautiful rose cuddle cloth that's so soft and so beautiful. They make great backs and it's just like a little hidden secret fun thing back there and it'll be so nice and cozy for whoever gets this quilt. So we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the Floating Squares block from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.